Well, howdy, howdy, howdy. Finally, Senior Citizen here, greeting his boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this, a brand new day. And remember, no matter who you are valid. Thumbs up for that. It is indeed a brand new day. Excuse me, I'm going to be having to clear my throat periodically. I haven't been talking except for when I started doing all this, and oh boy, so my apologies. But I have stepped outside, and it is, well, semi-overcast, kind of chill. It's not supposed to rain, and it's not going to get warm. So, thumbs up. Yay. I've got some things, a lot of things written down, so I'm going to try and go through them semi-quickly. But also, first off, I really love the song Sail by AWOL Nation. Hokey smokes. There is just something about everything about that. The beat, the underlying tones and themes of the actual music itself, and then the song just really does something for me. I was listening to it just before I started recording, and I was tearing up at the very end. Why? Consciously, I don't know. But there's something about some of the words, the way they're sang, especially at the end, that it just reaches inside me and plucks those strings. So, thumbs up, check that out. Anyway, some other things I've written up there, and a lot of these are just really, really quick, but there was stuff that I just wanted to talk about. I'm going to do this one first because I got this stuff right next to me. I've talked before about this, how the text of it they did on their own, but then they used Midjourney, and they said they generated thousands of images before they chose the ones that they liked. So it's filled and packed to the brim with nothing but AI art. They just came out with an announcement on their channel. They're going to come out with a second edition of the book. One of the authors of the book is going to be doing all of the hand-drawn art themselves. They said they had stopped doing art about 10 years ago for whatever reason, and it was apparently using Midjourney to generate thousands of images to use in their book that made him start thinking, I want to start drawing again. And so he's picked up his art stuff and he's been drawing again. And it's going to be his work in the second edition. No AI art, which I commend them for. I kind of wish that they had done that for the first edition. I mean, one of the things they even said is we couldn't afford to do you can find someone. You may not be happy with the quality. It may not meet a certain threshold that you think you have to have, but there's someone for some amount that you can find somewhere. But they're going to be coming out with a second edition that is just their art, nothing AI in it. I'm glad that they're doing that. Now, if they do not change any of the text, of course, I'm not going to pick it up. I've already got the first one. So, but I just thought it was a good thing, at least, that they're going to be doing that. They have been listening, at least a little bit, to people. And they have a Discord, and they're active in their Discord, so. And then, one of the things I wanted to talk about was, as an old person, with things like the memes of 6 bonk, 6'7", and there's this one fellow who's been trying to do this and has made, I guess, hundreds of memes on this, well, videos, shorts, where he's doing 6-1, 6-1. It's like, do I find any of this stuff funny? Well, of course not. I'm 63 years old. I'm not going to find any of that stuff funny. I find it ridiculous. But at the same time, you know who found the stuff that I did when I was a kid absolutely ridiculous? My parents and my grandparents, who probably thought I was an idiot for doing this stuff because when they were younger, that's the stuff that was really funny. No, not this stuff that their grandkids doing. So at 63, of course not. It's not my generational thing. Be honest, I can't remember what stupid things that we used to say way back when I was a kid. I went into high school in 1977. That was a long time ago. And I, because of my ADHD, have trouble remembering anything from my past. So I don't really remember much of the stupid stuff that we used to say and do. But I know we did it. So, yeah. It's not my demographic. It's not my age. Sure, it's ridiculous. But if it's funny to this generation, then it's funny to this generation. It's not bad. It's just different. Thumbs up for that. Good golly, Miss Molly. And then I have been doing the GTA crashing cars things and having a blast while playing it. I kind of wish that it is a YouTube and me thing. I wish that my videos would get more than like 140 views when I see other people out there doing them and they get tens of thousands. But that's my channel, and what the YouTube algorithm thinks of my channel issue. That's not a viewer issue, because I've gotten generally positive results from those. So thumbs up on that. But the thing that I was thinking about is I have seen a lot of BeamNG Drive videos out there of people that make tracks and then run the cars through challenges. There's one called Car Pals that does a lot of challenges. And some of them are ridiculous and I don't watch. But where there's the ideas to get to the end, but he put so many, they're not even challenges, they're just sheer luck. Can you get through this thing that's going through the air so fast that it's sheer luck? And if it happens to hit your car is instantly flattened. So generally no one makes it to the end of those. What I like is when he does things like the soapbox derbies, where he puts bicycle wheels on all of the cars, takes out their engines, and then puts them at the top of a track, and then lets them go. Now, if they drift off the edge, then they fall. And then there are challenges of types where they have ramps or rough ground or jumps or just drops where they've got to go, and then who makes it to the end. And those are kind of fun. And I kind of like to do that with BeamNG Drive. But, oh boys, looking up, like, how do you make maps for it? And, that does not look easy in the slightest. So, and plus, I mean, I'm not even a car guy. And BeamNG Drive is a very car, informationally correct sort of thing. I want to make maps, and if I could and make the tracks fun, fun the way I'd like to do them, then yeah. But otherwise, oh. So let's see what else I have over here. This is just a quick, silly one, but it's about porcupines. I have seen videos of adult porcupines, and they have been just the absolute friendliest creatures. And it's like they want to come up and get pets and snuggles. But of course, you don't want to get all those spines in you. You can only really touch their nose. But apparently they have really, really soft noses. But they are just incredibly cute, and apparently, I mean, not a wild porcupine is not going to be this way. These are the used to being around people, possibly been around people since they were born porcupines. But they want snuggles and pets. And you can just pet their noses, and they seem to be happy with it. Thumbs up for that. But, well, I'll save this one to next to last. There's, just really quick, there's a game that I tried out the demo for. It was supposed to be very Kingsfield-like, the old games on the PlayStation that FromSoft used to do before they, went on to do more games like that for other systems. But this game, Curse of Faces, seemed kind of interesting, and then I watched the intro on the demo, and halfway through the intro, I just stopped it and uninstalled the game. The idea was, like, 300 years ago, most of the human race died, and nobody really knew what happened. And somehow people survived and no one knew why. And now the world has gone on. But apparently somebody also figured out that it was the Curse of Faces. If two people saw each other's faces, they would die. So I uninstalled the game, and I'm not going to look at it. To me, one person who has individual tastes on things, to me, this is incredibly stupid. To the developer and to the people that like that game, it is not incredibly stupid. But to me, the premise falls so flat, I can't even check out the gameplay. Yay! Check it out, it might be really good. Like I say, this is a me thing. It may be really, really good and right up your alley if you like Souls-like games. And especially early PS1 Kingsfield-likes. So thumbs up. And then I'm going to go with, there's also, I mentioned that I wrote down this one rap guy, but I'll talk about him another day. The last thing is, in a comment, which I think was from Salvatore Cento, thank you very much, and I'm not pointing at you, or there's a turn of phrase, and I, of course, cannot remember what it is. Thumbs up for human brains, but I'm not trying to say anything bad. It's just, it made me think about this, but made a comment about how I was very emotional talking about my stuff yesterday with the Beast of Abernathy. And yeah, my therapist a couple years back started talking with me about narrative therapy, where you can rewrite or redo or approach issues and problems that you have, and you can write it out so it ends differently. Now, if it's not a direct thing, maybe just feelings or issues that you have but you don't have words for, you find it and then you do some writing stuff about it. I, for the longest time, didn't really think that'd be such a good thing. But then I started working on my cosmic horrors and the multiverse. And unfortunately, I did most of my thinking on this while I was on Ritalin. And of course, Ritalin almost killed me. But since then, I've been largely just trying to hang on to the stuff that I came up with and slowly trying to make more. But what I was doing was I would go out for 2-hour walks. And what I thought I was doing was punishing myself, because I would come up with story thoughts, like with my characters of Iron John, who ends up cut off from everybody and everything he knew by 1.4 million years and trying to live in the current day, and how it feels with those feelings of loss and knowing they're all dead. And how in the end he could not take it. The ball of pain was just too heavy. Until he figured out it is not a betrayal of those that you're carrying the ball of pain for to put the ball of pain down. Because you can't move into the future carrying that ball of pain. It's just too heavy. You have to put it down, reconcile with the past, so you can live in the present and work for the future. And that's what Iron John does. It took weeks of working on that for me to develop all that. And all the time I was working on the very rough parts for him, I was crying while I was walking. It felt to me like I was just taking a rusty dagger and driving it into open wounds and just grinding it into that wound. But the thing is, the longer I worked on it and the more I dug that dagger in and the more I made it bleed and empty out, the less it hurt. Until in the end, all of the bad stuff had been drained out and now it could heal. I wasn't hurting myself. I was draining the pus out of all these festering wounds so they could heal. Some of these stories, when I come back to them, still get me deeply emotional, like with the Beast of Abernathy and Rayla the Crow Witch, a cryptid, such like that, and that just tells me there's still a little infection left in there. It's largely cleaned out, it's largely healed, but there's still just a little bit left. So yeah, when I tell these stories, I do sometimes still get so deeply emotional I can and will cry. Especially since I was unknowingly digging a thing in there to drain all of it out so it could heal. I was specifically designing each of these scenarios to make me cry. And when I did, well, they succeeded. The story of Rayla the Crow Witch can still make me cry. There's still some infection there I have to dig out. But on the whole, it's worked very, very well. So yeah, I get very emotional at times. Plus, I'm a very emotional person. I mean, I listen to music, I cry. I can look at pictures of puppies or hamsters, and I can get emotional. I can see babies and get tears in my eyes. I will cry at the drop of a hat. I am so intensely emotional. I wear my emotions on my sleeves. One of the things that makes it so difficult to lie, I may say the words that are a lie, but my body will tell you I am lying. And that is nothing that I can stop. Even if I do white lies, I still get chest pains from the stress of that. Thumbs up. Oh, but at 20 minutes in, hey, if you could like, comment, share, and subscribe, that'd be very cool and greatly appreciated. If you're a Patreon patron, thumbs up and thank you. You are beautiful and awesome people. Greatly appreciated. Your help is bad Yoda impression, but there we go. When you look in the mirror, you're looking at someone who is beautiful and awesome. Thumbs up and thank you. If you've left me a comment, you too are beautiful and awesome in your own way. Thumbs up for that. I read every comment that YouTube shows me. Thumbs up every comment that YouTube lets me, and answer as many as my nerve compression will allow, which is more than I have been able to do of late, but it's still not as many as I would like. And I like to answer comments because, number one, I like to engage, and number two, I think it's important to let you know that you have been heard. And I do like to play an internet game of calling out a writer's prompt or a secret word so it can be written into the comments for blatant engagement farming, and it's nice to be heard. The people that last played were Jesse Koskinen, thumbs up and thank you. Momoka, greatly appreciated. Good. Suddenly, I forgot how to speak English. Good to see you. Leo Tom Music, also good to see you. Salvatore Cento, thumbs up. Thank you very much for the thing that made me think of something to talk about for way too long. Greatly appreciated. And if you have watched this far, if you could just write order into the comments, that would be very, very cool for, once again, blatant engagement farming. And it is nice to be heard. Yay! If you don't want to, you don't have to, but if you do, thank you very, very much. So I am going to edit, render, upload. I'm going to take care of myself. I am going to go on walkies at some point, and thumbs up for that. You got to stay active. I was sedentary for too many decades, so now I get antsy if I don't get out and go active. Thumbs up for that. Hopefully you can get done the things that you would like to get done, and if not, please do not beat yourself up because you deserve better. And I sincerely apologize to anybody who hates the sounds of mouth noises. I have become incredibly dry while talking, and my apologies for that. If you hate mouth noises, you're gonna have hated this. I, paradoxically, in my neurodivergence, actually find mouth noises actually kind of comforting, almost in an ASMR way. Anyway, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and that is indeed a very, very good thing. Yeah, still no words of wisdom, because the only time I think about it is like right now. And as soon as I hit the stop recording button, I'm not going to think about it until the next time I'm doing this. Talk about out of sight, out of mind, but there you go.